Coming to you live here from Batman's Bay, town in the south coast of New South Wales, Australia, part of the Batman Bay snorkeling trail with reefs and fish. We're here today with what is, in my opinion, perhaps the most brutal of the qualifiers that we have, or at least the most brutal of the qualification regions, just because of how it is scheduled out. We are here with, I don't even remember the days, but it's the first open qualifier for the Oceania / rest of Asia region for DreamHack Masters Valencia. I am, of course, the host Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is El Post Newman, que también es el Custodio del Parque, Light _VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Sorry, I was just messaging the players.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll go, what's up, Yaku? Yes, welcome back, everyone, to the second broadcast of the day. Earlier this morning, we were casting the DreamHack North American qualifiers, and now we are finally here with the very first Oceania qualifier.
Oh boy, it's coming to a head. It's all coming to a head.
Oh boy, exactly, mate, exactly. And we have our first series as well. I know a lot of people have been very excited about this. It's been a long time coming. It's a shame that, of course, this is kind of like the last qualifier out of all the regions, but we saved the best for last. As you can see on the screen right here, we have the most recent ANZ champ.
He is the champ himself. We are, of course, talking about Piglet, otherwise known elsewhere as Pig Jr., but for the most part going as Piglet here, who, as you said, has won the last season of ANZ Champs, is going to be defending his title once again this weekend. It is going to be, it's going to be a pretty brutal couple of days for him, isn't it?
Oh my god, exactly. But like, I'm also really excited because it's no, it's no secret that we have spoken about Piglet before and how he, may not invest the most time in practicing. But that was the case last year. This year, mate, he has been laddering pretty actively. I was so surprised, like maybe a month ago, or even just more than a month ago now. Like he was actively on the Korean ladder, and actively like all over the place, even in Twitch streams of other Terran players, and it's great to see him animated and motivated to improve.
It really was, and we'll kind of have to see how much further he goes from here, because honestly he already has a very, very, very solid foundation. He is just about the favorite coming into the region of any of these regional events that's coming down, but knowing that he did that off the back of the bare minimum practice that he had last year, but now actually being motivated to keep going on and keep practicing, that is something that we're going to have to watch out for. Of course, this is not just one player in a match.
True.
Or there's never just one player in a match. ZAiN is coming back here once again. He showed a lot of promise to us in the previous seasons of DreamHack. Just barely fell short the last time, but now, let's see if things can turn around as we jump into 2,000 atmospheres. LE over here in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the green Protoss player coming out from the land of Pakistan, representing Pakistan, not just here, but also in Nation Wars, as we did just get that news this morning. He is ZAiN.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the Australian Terran player himself, the most recent ANZ champ, representing Opus V. It is Piglet.
I'm going through my memory banks here, Light, and I'm trying to remember if we did. I very vaguely remember a best of 5 between these two players that just barely went Piglet's favor.
I want to say that in DreamHack winter of last year, they played in a qualifying match.
That was it. That was it. Yeah.
I remember being disappointed because I could be mistaken, but I think ZAiN may have beaten like Oreo, and I was really looking forward to like a Piglet Oreo rematch or something, but instead it was ZAiN. It was something. No. I think maybe ZAiN beat Starduck. It was something along those lines. I can't remember.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Starduck, if I'm remembering from here.
Oh my god. So I remember being robbed of like a Duckling versus Piglet, and I was like, I really wanted to see it. But regardless, like as we were saying earlier, like it's great to see them both here. It's great to see Piglet here as well. That was kind of that was kind of like the big question after he won AIMS at Champs. We had an interview with him, and we were like the ESL boys. We had an interview with him, and we were like, "Yo, does this mean like are you gonna?" like try competing and like representing Australia? Like you're clearly like incredibly good. Would you go that one step further? And at the time he's like, you know, I never even thought about that. He was like, you know what? Sure, yeah, why not? Like he was very like laxed about it, but he's like, you know what? I will play in DreamHack.
Why the hell not? Most of what I remember from that interview, I gotta be honest, is Piglet not knowing who 4GG was.
True. Very true. Very true.
But yeah, it's starting to come back to me now, and I guess we are going to be seeing this Piglet ZAiN rematch. Unfortunately, it is going to be a best of 3 and not a full-on best of 5. And there is no double elimination, today, is there? There isn't, because once again, every tournament that every qualifier we have rather is going to follow that same 2 days. 2 players qualify from each day. Well, at least in these regions.
Yeah, exactly. 2 players will qualify, and it's kind of crazy that these 2 players have to face off so early on. The seeding just kind of worked out that way, and we'll see how things turn out, because so far things are pretty standard. You know, ZAiN does open up with a Blink opener, which is again one of the more common openers here in this matchup. But ZAiN is also a little bit of an enigma as well. Like, he hasn't been the most active player this year in recent months, so like we don't really know what kind of form he is in either.
Yeah, that's, I guess, that's one of the things about these qualifiers, is that it does give us a little bit of a sneak peek as we get into the rest of the year. Reaper does get a very nice scout, will confirm that the Twilight Council is researching.
Yeah, he is fully aware that, you know, it is going to be Blink. It shouldn't really be DTs, despite the tech being there. Like, he does see that the Twilight Council is researching. Meanwhile, as he actually gets into the main base, both players being able to scout their entire main bases.
Well, that's just part of the fun. If they're both surprised, or if there is a surprise, that's, there's no suspense.
Exactly. So ZAiN is well aware of the 1-1-1 opener. We do have a bit of a Widowmine drop though going into the natural.
Yeah, and despite scouting this coming down from Piglet, ZAiN Stalkers were not quite in position. Very nice reactions, being able to pull the probes away, but even better retargeting from Piglet. Is able to pick off a couple of probes. He really wants more. He really wants it.
Oh my god, he's gonna force a lot of lost mine time. There we go. Finally, we have the shot going off. This will all be cleaned up, but 5 probe kills for 2 Widow Mines, not bad.
Well worth it. On top of all that, he does confirm the tech choices of ZAiN. He does confirm the 3rd base coming out, so he shouldn't be worried about ZAiN throwing a curveball his way anytime soon. He knows that it's a pretty standard build from ZAiN.
Oh yeah, exactly. He knows it's not going to be any kind of crazy 2-base all-in or anything like that. He confirmed the 3rd base, as you said, confirmed all the upgrades, confirmed that there wasn't like a massive gateway explosion or anything like that. But you know, the Raven! Ah!
He really wants that observer, but that could cost him. Will he get it? He will be able to get that observer, and there is a little bit of dead air here that he can utilize.
Get over the wall! Get over the wall!
Blink is such a wild card.
It looks like he just barely. No! He gets over the wall, but the Stalkers are chasing him down so badly. Oh my god, can ZAiN get the Raven? No, he can't!
Blink's on cooldown. And Piglet somehow keeps that Raven alive with 20 health.
Oh my god. So Piglet, he ends up saving his Raven, he ends up getting the Observer in the end, and now he is free to move out. Again, with the death of that Observer, that means any kind of move out, you know, it's going to be that much harder to keep an eye on it. That's why ZAiN is doing the best he can to try and slow this down.
Yeah, thankfully he does know that it's coming his way at the very least, so he is trying to prepare back home, but this is a very powerful timing coming out from Piglet. Stim is just about to finish up here, along with Combat Shield and +1. That Raven, of course, still alive from earlier on, and on a turret or an anti-armor can really tip the momentum in Piglet's favor, even further in Piglet's favor. I mean, yeah. I'm really liking his I'm really liking his push right now.
I am as well. There is only one tank and it's already at less than half HP, so you have to be so careful with it. There we go. He does already siege it up here in the backline. The Zelts are going to try and dive in. Charge is done.
Yeah, and he is going to be forced to move away from his tank, but in the meantime, the Bio gets plenty of volleys off on top of his gateway. Unfortunately, with the loss of that tank, he is not able to sustain this front line.
Yeah, exactly. We do have a couple of reinforcements, so he does turn around. He's going to be able to chip away at these Zealots as he does kite backwards, but the force field is going to trap a decent chunk of this Bio.
Yeah, just like that, Piglet's Bioforce has been cut in two. He finally loses the Raven.
Finally. I mean, again, it was able to add a little bit more extra value there in the end, throwing down that auto turret. I almost think maybe the auto turret didn't help. I don't know if you saw, but the Zealots all charged on the auto turret instead of the area where the Widowmine shot went off. So I don't know.
Well, he didn't really have much energy from there, so I guess he was thinking might as well utilize what I've got. But yeah, that could have been salvageable if the Raven stayed alive. ZAiN going for a bit of a counter push, and he does have a Warp Prism, so there's a lot that he can do to really be annoying and mobile.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Piglet, he reads going into the main base. He does now drop a decent amount of Marines here. There we go. Oh, he knows all about this.
No!
Warp Prism tries to go in.
Oh, he's patrolling.
Ah!
Marines will stim on forward. Not quite able to get the Warp Prism, but will be able to prevent it from sieging up for the time being. They have to re-rally his bio units back into his base here.
Exactly, and in the end, I don't think a single SCV went down. No, not a single one, so a very good defense here. It's a bit of a shame that he didn't get the Warp Prism, so that will always be a threat in the back of Piglet's mind, and that is why he is working on these missile turrets.
Yeah, may as well at this point, I suppose. He does have a couple of minerals to spare, but a fourth base is not on his mind anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, he's staying on 3 bases. He's taking all the way up into Ghost. We already have enhanced shockwaves on the way as well. Of course, the EMP upgrade. So yeah, Piglet, he's like kind of transitioning into this quite nicely. Sure, he may have lost the Raven and a tank, and they are kind of rough losses, but you know, he hasn't really lost too much else from there.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like Piglet kind of shines in TvP once these ghosts come out. Sorry.
Yeah.
He is kind of a master when it comes to positioning against maxed out Protoss armies. I'm hoping ZAiN is aware of that and doesn't, you know, leave himself in a bit of a compromised position here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Piglet, he is scariest in the late game. That's why for a long time in both TvP and TvZ, he would just turtle up until maxed out. And then his late game army control would be absolutely insane. That's why I think Probe even admitted it. He's like, you know, Piglet is a terrifying opponent because of that. And he's kind of getting there. You know, the early game, he was able to survive. He hasn't lost much of his economy at all. And now he's got a decent army to work with.
Yeah, just patrolling around, seeing if there's anything to catch in this position. Not quite able to go for a dedicated push just yet, though.
Yeah, exactly. Not for the time being. I'm sure he wants to wait a little bit longer. You know, we have +2 on the way, another wave of ghosts as well, second NG Bay as well, so we can start working on 2 upgrades at a time. But looking over at ZAiN, we do also have a decent, you know, macro from his side as well. He's going into Colossus, Extended Thermal Lance already finished up, and he's even, oh my god, he's getting DT Blink.
Well, that's one way of disrupting your opponent's economy. Or even sniping some key units if need be.
Yeah, I mean, mate, DTs can be amazing. Sure, there was like a little bit of a nerf to the DTs, but like it's pretty negligible. Like I think everyone said that. Yeah, it doesn't really change late game PvT and the way that the DTs work. Oh.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more specialized in PvT than in PvZ or even PvP here. Nice warding EMP from Piglet. ZAiN gonna have to think twice before engaging into that position. And now with the sensor towers coming up here, ZAiN is gonna have a much tougher time trying to push into Piglet.
Yeah, exactly. It's so difficult to push into that 3rd base. We're gonna have a sensor tower here as well at the 4th. Piglet doesn't know where the army is right now, so he's kind of moving out at the same time as ZAiN is pushing in.
And Piglet decides to force a base trade.
Oh
Alright, trying to force a bit of a recall here. And ZAiN is not taking it. He is just coming all the way back home. He realizes, wait a minute, you don't have defenses there. What is going on? Where is your army?
Up.
It's right on your doorstep, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. We have the first Nova coming up, but that is the only disruptor that ZAiN has to work with right now. Piglet had no fear in the face of his opponent hitting his 4th base. He did not turn around. He did not flinch. We do have a couple of DTs, but there is the scan.
No hesitation and no surrender. These ghosts have plenty of energy on them, and they are absolutely blanketing the entire Protoss army. Nice little concave here from Piglet, but pretty good force fields as well. Here comes the splits, though, and Piglet is running away with this engagement.
Oh my god, he targets down the disruptors as well. The Novas will not go off. That is it. That is all the splash damage of ZAiN. He warps in a mass amount of DTs, but the EMPs get them.
GG is called. Piglet takes game number 1, and I got a bit of a statistic for you here, Light. At the end of that engagement, I looked at the units lost tab. Piglet lost 3,000 minerals overall throughout the entire game. ZAiN lost 9,000. That is honestly pretty terrifying. There's a reason why Piglet is so intimidating when it comes to the late game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not like he's using the most high-tech army either. It's not like he's, bringing in Liberators or Thors or what have you. It's just Bio, Marine, Marauder, Vikings, Ghosts, and I guess Ghosts are pretty high-tech when you think about it, but,
I get what you mean. Like, there wasn't, like, a massive backbone of tanks or even Widow Mines with his army. Like, it was mainly Bio. And personally, that's why I love watching Piglet with his army. It's very, very micro-intensive, and that's why, like, he's able to really shine with it as well. Like, it just looks that much more impressive.
Piglet is one of those players who I watch his games and I think, I should do that. And then I do that and I lose because I'm nowhere near as good as him.
Oh, God.
I don't have the positional awareness that Piglet has. It's insane how you look at the two armies and you think, the Terran army he should be favored here. And then all of a sudden he comes in with a massive concave and he wins.
Yeah, I mean, that was very, very decisive from Piglet, the way that he was able to just move out across the map and just go for it, and that was actually at a really crucial timing as well, because as he was pushing out, that was exactly at the moment that not just disruptors were coming out, because there were no disruptors with the main army, but also ZAiN was trying to get into the late game. He had Stargates on the way. He was getting ready to go into carriers. Like, that was exactly the moment that he was the most vulnerable.
And it was kind of proven here by Piglet. So yeah, I'm gonna have to wonder how he'll adjust his play going into game number 2. I'm not sure if ZAiN really wants to play out a standard macro game after that right now. But we'll see. We shall see as we load into game number 2 on Hardwire LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the red Terran player come down from the land of... I don't think it's Sydney now, but yeah. I know it's... Okay, Sydney. Sydney! He is going to be representing Team Opus V. We have the ANZ champ himself. We have Piglet.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the green Protoss player himself, hailing from the land of Pakistan. Down in this series, but not out. Not yet. It is ZAiN.
I'm watching this probe. ZAiN, not necessarily the most cheesy players out there, but I wouldn't be opposed to him throwing out something like that to just try to disrupt Piglet.
That's the thing, right? We just saw a game on 2K Atmospheres, one of the more standard maps in the map pool. We saw a relatively standard TvP as well, and Piglet, we were talking about it, once he gets into that mid-game, once he gets into the swing of things, like, he is a terrifying opponent, and he kind of made that look easy. Like, the way that he was splitting, the way that he was controlling, targeting down, landing all those EMPs, like, it wasn't even close, mate.
It didn't look fair at all. It was one of those games where you look at it in isolation and it was like, man, Protoss needs a buff and Terran needs a nerf.
Yeah. And like, it's not as if ZAiN wasn't, you know, trying to fight back, right? He was trying to go for some War Prism into the main base. He had DTs as well to throw his opponent off. He was trying to outmaneuver his opponent and his army and maybe try and hit the 4th base. I guess you could argue maybe the biggest mistake from ZAiN was turning around. Not the act of turning around, but, you know, maybe recalling would have been a little bit better. He would have been with the rest of his, with his disruptors. Maybe he would have had, like, shield batteries to back him up as well. Like, he just had a really awkward engagement there in that final fight.
Yeah, I guess it didn't help that, you know, he was forced to come all the way back home.
Yeah.
I don't believe he had a recall available to him back then, but at that point, I'm not sure if that really would have changed that much.
And it was also like pushing up a ramp into the army as well. Like it was like that was like the best position that Piglet could have been in. It was crazy.
And speaking of best position, Piglet does come in and scouts the Twilight Council, but is unaware of the pylon right in his backyard.
Are you feeling DTs?
I'm feeling DTs.
We only have one gateway back at home, so a proxy gate wouldn't necessarily make the most sense. There it is!
Yeah, boy.
Oh my god. So yes, as you were saying, you know, Piglet, he was of the same mindset. He's like, oh my god, I'm not doing that again. He's like, nah, mate, we gotta go ham, we gotta go all the way. He goes for the proxy Dark Shrine, and that was unintentional. That was...
ZAiN is going ham. And it's gonna be on Piglet to be able to scout this. He is doing the standard thing of going for a mine drop. We should be seeing a Raven after this. But there is a small little window of opportunity where ZAiN will be able to sneak in before the Raven gets out. It's going to be pretty important for the Piglet to save scan.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly important. Again, Piglet did see a piece of the puzzle. He saw the Twilight Council as it was being built and then lost the Reaper, so he couldn't stick around to see the timing of the upgrade or if there was an upgrade on the way at all. What's important to take note of is that ZAiN isn't like hedging all of his bets on this. He is still getting Blink back at home. He's expanding. He is taking a 3rd base, so he doesn't intend to end the game here with these DTs, but he does intend to deal potentially crippling damage.
Yeah, not an all-in by any means, but, you know, just a way for him to, like you said, cripple Piglet before the fight even begins.
Oh, we don't have a scan. We don't have a scan. We don't have a scan.
And Piglet did not see the shade? Question mark? Is that what it's called?
Ooh,
the cloak.
The shimmer.
The shimmer. He's starting to take out a couple of SCVs, but on the other side of the map, this time, Piglet's Mangs did get plenty of probe kills. So all things considered, Piglet is still ahead in this dynamic. It's insane how that ended up.
Yeah, so I apologize. I was hyper-focused on the DTs, not so much on the drop. The drop did get 10 probes. And as you said, Piglet is still looking in a pretty good position. He does have a Raven that's about to come out, so he will be perfectly fine from these DTs. And it just goes to show that it's pretty important for ZAiN to have dealt all that damage. Otherwise, he would be even further behind. Or be behind, I should say.
Well, I don't know. Based on just how the TvP dynamic works out, I honestly do think that ZAiN is still a little behind.
Yeah, I mean, the DTs, maybe he wanted to do a little bit more with them, but ZAiN does have a 3rd base up and running, so he can catch up in those workers. He's still not in the best position. Oh god. I was so worried about that tank.
Yeah, it was very, very exposed, but Piglet will be able to keep it alive. You're gonna have to be careful about the Raven once again, though. It's so close, and there is plenty of space on Hardwire. Not as many, you know, dead air.
Mate, what a madman. He knows there are DTs on the map, and he doesn't care. He just goes to harass with auto turrets, mate. What? Oh my god.
He's like, well, I could keep my SCVs alive, or I could kill your probes.
Yeah, or I could just mule and kill your probes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
One tank gonna be preventing the stalkers from coming in.
Yeah, at the same time, the Raven does finally get across the map. What do we have to defend? We don't have a shield battery, we don't have a cannon. Auto turret will land here in between the gases. Oh, he's trying to, but the probes.
Yeah, the bloody blocking was very nice here from the probes, but auto turret will finally land, take out a couple of probes, but more importantly, force a lot of lost mining time here for ZAiN. Piglet's stim is just about to finish. I believe he got combat shield. Yes, somehow combat shield finished up quicker.
Yeah.
Plus, would of course still a little bit of a ways off, but that's not as important considering the rest of the upgrades he's got.
Not gonna lie, I thought that the Raven harass would trigger the DT a little bit faster because it's like, oh, you have your Raven across the map, let's go. But Piglet is ready for it anyway. At the same time, another little bit of auto turret harass. 2 more probes go down, and we have a missile turret. The DT gets dealt with.
Just like so. And Piglet, I mean, he hasn't dealt with the Dark Shrine yet, so he may be feeling a little bit cautious, but there we go, push it across the map immediately. And there isn't really much of a backbone here for ZAiN. I will say that he has charge. He has the potential to use defensive DTs as well, so, you know, it's not like this is a terrifying push right now, but it's still one that he absolutely has to respect.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just worried because ZAiN is pushing out and he's going to fight the army without the power of the shield batteries. 2, 3 zealots go down already. I mean, sure, charge is great. Sure, +1 is great. But what's even better is fighting with shield batteries and overcharge.
Yeah, you want to maximize your advantages as much as possible. Ooh. Those mines hit right in the heart of those zealots. The force fields, funnily enough, I think actually helping Piglet more than hindering him. And he can't keep getting away with this light. This is brutal right now, but a very quick warp in for ZAiN should be able to keep him alive. Behind all of this, Piglet is just working on his reinforcements. He's tied up the upgrades now. He's tied up the base count now.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say the same thing, by the way. I was like, when did Terran get force fields? Because they 100% helped the bio army and the tanks stay alive that much longer. Meanwhile, the reinforcements will meet here on top of the ramp, will force ZAiN all the way back in. Ooh, that war prism was looking a little bit exposed, but couldn't find an opportunity to dive on it.
Yeah, Piglet not taking the bait. That's his patience.
I'm not going to talk about patience, okay, Yaku?
Wait, no.
Oh,
no, that's him displaying his patience.
There you go, there you go. Meanwhile, the Raven harass continues. That Raven from earlier is still here across the map. Props to Piglet for not being tempted to use the all-army hockey. It's still here in between all the bases. So even more probes go down. Oh, debate.
And now Piglet's finally ahead when it comes to the worker supply. Of course, he has mules as well. Piglet is taking the bait. Very smartly done here by ZAiN. But Piglet, he sensed that something was off. He doesn't commit too much to that war prism, and now he's turning back around. It is a little bit tricky for him to hold here. He doesn't have any more mines, and he hasn't rebuilt his tanks. This is a choke point, so he's not quite able to get the concave that he needs. Oh
yeah, exactly. He is going to dive on in. We do have a little bit of SimCity here with these supply depots, but is it going to be enough? Right now, Piglet, he doesn't have any splash damage. He doesn't have his ghost yet.
Yeah, 2 of them on the way, but on the flip side, neither does ZAiN. Beautiful force fields completely cutting off the army. Quick hot pickup coming down. Will save a decent amount of the bio, but things are still looking pretty vulnerable here for Piglet. Finally losing his SCVs. Archon's still alive. 1 EMP, that's the only one he had for the time being, will land. But it's not quite good enough.
Exactly. All the middle ones are stuck behind the army as well. Finally, the shots are going to go off, but GG gets called, and Piglet will take game number 2 and tie it up. ZAiN, sorry.
Very decisive counterattack coming out here from ZAiN. Things are not looking good for him at all. After that initial push, he lost quite a number of units, arguably unnecessarily, but to be fair, they were mostly zealots and a couple of stalkers. His Archon was still alive. He didn't lose any of his sentries either. So after weathering the initial storm, he was able to go across the map. He didn't take any economic damage there. So yeah, he could just keep sustaining himself. And now we've got ourselves an ace match.
Yeah, that we do. I do really think it's so smart that ZAiN recognized when Piglet was at his weakest, and that is both these games. You were pointing it out in game number 1. Piglet, he doesn't really rely on a lot of like his factory units, and because of that, it takes a while for him to get those ghosts out. Before those ghosts, like the swarm of Protoss can really get a lot done.
Good old swarm toss. You know, what is the scariest unit of Protoss? Is it Colossus that are massive and shoot lasers? No. Is it carriers that are in this massive and shoot interceptors? Carriers are so easy to kill. Scariest Protoss unit is the Zealot. Is Mass Zealot.
Yeah, it's actually really good. You know, there's a lot of Protoss players that have found a lot of success with that kind of style, with the mass gateway, and even some Archons as well, and that's kind of where they rely on a lot of their splash damage. So Piglet being being figured out a little bit here, but can he adapt mid-series?
I'm optimistic for him here.
Well, I am too.
Stubborn player, but we are on a very quirky map now in our ace match. This can really go either way.
Oh boy. It really can. Again, it's such a shame that we had this as our first series. Like, yeah,
it's a blessing and a curse, I guess we should say. A double-edged sword, because on the one hand, we get to witness this matchup, this very close matchup, this early on. On the other hand, because it's early, it is a best of 3. We aren't quite able to see this to its full potential.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sure we're all being robbed by the fact that this is not a best of 5. Feels bad, man, but alas, it is all going to end here for one of these players. 2 players who are deserving to be in the closed qualifier. 2 amazing players in their own rights, but one of them has to say goodbye, at least in qualifier number 1.
Yeah. As we conclude our series now on Blackburn LE, we're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Sydney. He is going to be representing Team Opus V. The ANZ champ himself, he's going ham. He is Piglet.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Pakistani Protoss player himself. He is green, representing his nation, himself, his brother. It is ZAiN. Family.
Thanks, Vin Diesel.
Oh my god.
And I do find that really cool that him and his brother Raza are going to be representing Pakistan in Nation Wars.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see. For those who are unaware, this is Raza's younger brother. Of course, Raza, previously known as Razorblader, is going to be already invited into the closed qualifier, or is it the main events?
I believe it's closed qualifier. Let me double check this real quick. Where's the link you sent me? Yep, close qualifiers.
There you go. There you go. So his brother's already there. Can ZAiN get there and meet him? Meanwhile, Piglet has a different brother who's going to be casting the main event. It's crazy to think that they both have like older brothers who are also in the scene.
Yeah. It's a matchup of the little brothers.
True. After this, we need to do a show match between Piglet and Raza. We need to. Oh,
Pig and Raza.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Pig. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy to think about that that's the case. But here we go. We are diving into Blackburn, and
do they?
Go on.
I mean, I was just gonna ask. Do they have a third brother? Because I believe there are 3 boys. Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, that's a good question.
I know
We need
there
to
are
ask
3
Raza.
pig boys. We need to know if there are 3. I don't remember their last names. Sheka? Was it?
Maru boys. All right, that's
Maru boys. There we go.
Oh god. But yeah, we are getting into game number 3 here, and something that I quickly wanted to add to this is the fact that even though this may be a relatively small map, just because of Piglet's style, we've seen him go time and time again into a split map scenario on Blackburn. So you know, it can be a little bit deceiving at times.
Yeah, it's a short map, but it's only a short game if the players decide to make it short.
Meanwhile, we have a very we have a Twilight Council into a relatively fast rover here.
Yeah, the Twilight Council has been pretty consistent.
Yeah, there we go.
With the rest of the games played out so far, but that is a much quicker robo facility this time, and that is because ZAiN has had enough of proxies and whatnot. He just wants to send that warp prism across the map, take warp in those ZTs, maybe get some damage, maybe not. But if not, then turn them into Archons. Keep getting grass.
Yeah, like, I really do like this from ZAiN. Like, I was taking note of the fact that obviously there wasn't an upgrade on this pilot council, but I'm like, mate, that robot, that's quick, mate. Oh my god, is he gonna do it again? And he is. Of course, this time not relying on a proxy, this time relying on the Warp Prism to sneak on in, and I'm a little bit concerned here for Piglets. Are we going to have that scan?
Well, immediately, let me just double check here. Okay, so he's still going for his 9 drop, but he is also going to be getting his Raven out. The way to medevac was path, that it will fly right over this Dark Shrine, so he should be saving a scan.
Oh my god! Oh my god, no! No!
Probes are lined up live! No! 11 go down to 1 mine! Those probes were 1 second away from completely avoiding the shot, but unfortunately it was not to be. 12 probes get taken out right off the bat, and now ZAiN has to do counter damage.
He needs to deal so much damage right now. The wall is a wall. The DTs are stuck here in the main base. Raven is coming out, but still needs a little bit more time. Do we have enough engine? We do have 1 scan.
Units aren't quite here yet, so SCVs will be going down. ZAiN is able to even out the worker count, but now that the Raven is out, he shouldn't be getting more damage from here. We are kind of evening out here when it comes to the workers, but of course, Terran having mules, you gotta give Piglet the slight economic advantage.
Exactly, not just
slight, it's actually pretty big.
Yeah, not just that, the fact that ZAiN committed his tech to deal damage, right? Whereas the Widowmine drop was always really going to happen. So the DTs, have they paid for themselves? Kind of, but because of the Widowmine damage, the DTs needed to do a little bit more.
They've kind of paid for themselves, but not really.
Yeah. Couldn't have put it better myself. Oh god. Meanwhile, ZAiN, he's going to be going in, but you know what's waiting for him? We have a Viking ready to shut down that War Prism. Oh.
Piglet is just... I don't even want to call it putting up the walls, but he's like putting... I don't know. He's booby trapping his base is essentially what he's doing right now. His Warp Prism shouldn't make it out of here alive. Auto turret to help out as well. Archon's very nicely targeting down the Viking, but it is very far away from the Warp Prism. That Warp Prism is 1 volley away from getting taken out, but so is that Viking.
It looks like
in the end.
Yeah, it looks like the Viking will survive. The Warp Prism goes down, so will 1 Archon, and only 1 Archon will manage to get out alive.
Not ideal at all. A very massive gas commitment, but also a mineral commitment since these were DTs instead of High Templar.
I can't believe that Piglet's drop from the early game is still alive, by the way. Like, he's doing so much inadvertent damage. We haven't seen another big connection, but he does force the last High Templar!
Nicely calculated here from ZAiN. Was able to take out that mine. There was really not much of a risk of that mine borrowing unless Piglet somehow throughout this entire time was researching tunneling claws or something, but you know, he wasn't.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully, yeah.
Otherwise we would have had a very different game here, but now things are slowing down, they're settling down a little bit. What I'm a little bit afraid of though is that mate, Piglet has adapted. We have 3 tanks now with this main army. This push that's going to be coming with Stim and +1, mate, it's going to hit hard. Harder than we've ever seen him hit before. Oh my god.
Starting to go full ham. As once again just another timing push coming out from Piglet, but as you said, with these 3 tanks, there's much more of a backbone. There's something, there's a much more stable anchor that Piglet can fall back to. He hasn't been neglecting his bio either. In fact, I didn't even notice when he got the Ghost Academy.
Yeah. Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, there are going to be ghosts soon as well. Like, everything is coming up. Piglet, meanwhile, the Raven is still alive from earlier. Finally, it's here across the map, forcing again more lost mining time, both in the main base and, okay, not quite in the natural.
That bruises these zealots a little bit, I suppose.
Oh boy, and here we go. The War Prism has been remade for ZAiN. Looking at his upgrades, he does have charge. +1 is still a ways off. Oh god, I'm sure a lot of the mistiming of this upgrade has to do with just the sheer amount of lost mining time that he's had this entire game.
Yeah, his income definitely isn't as good as it could be. He's on 43 workers against the 60 of Piglet right now, and Piglet is making full use of that. He doesn't even have a gold base yet.
Yeah, and like, are we really gonna push into this? Like, we have 3 tanks, we have 2 bunkers, and we have a bunch of supply depots. War Prism is gonna pull Piglet apart a little bit, though.
Yeah, massive warping of Zealots does finish, but the EMPs are out now. Even without advanced shockwaves, Piglet is able to blanket the harassment force, and ZAiN decides to push in. He may as well try his luck, but now that the main base harassment, the bio is coming down to reinforce, and this is ZAiN just throwing away his army.
Yeah. I mean, the shield, sorry, the force field's gonna buy a little bit of time, but GG gets called, and Piglet takes the series 2-1.
Bought him a little bit of time until he realized that that time doesn't run. GG. Piglet will take that series 2-1, as you were saying, and continue on to face, I believe it is
Quantel, yes.
Quantel, yes.
Oh my god.
What? To face another Protoss player in the form of Quantel, and yep.
Yeah, I was just about to say that when it comes to that game, like, sure, it was a good idea to pull apart Piglet a little bit, but something important to take note of is that ZAiN actually didn't see the defensive position until he was running into it. He didn't know that there were all those bunkers and depots waiting for him, and by the time he moved in, I guess he's like, well, I mean, I'm already here. Like, I'm already committed, may as well go for it, and we all saw... I thought, like, I was watching the game in slow motion, how long it took for him to go through those bunkers and go through those depots and eventually, yeah, and get on top of those tanks, and he didn't even get the tanks. Like,
2 bunkers and the winding wall. It's sometimes that's all you really need in a TvP, at least a defensive TvP. Of course, ZAiN probably wouldn't have felt as pressured to push in had Piglet not gotten all of those probe kills, not just the initial 11 with the 1 mine, but the fact that he was able to just keep consistently get 2-3 more kills with the mine drop that he kept alive, and with his Raven auto turret harass as well. That was art that we saw coming up from Piglet here, and I'm definitely hoping that we do see more of ZAiN here. Again, you were mentioning it earlier, but ZAiN is a very talented player. He definitely has it in him to make it not just to the close qualifiers, but you know, on a very good day he can make it to the main event as well, and potentially even the playoffs. But I do know that tomorrow's qualifier isn't at the best time for him, so you know, fingers crossed. You know.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Just wow. What a great display there by Piglet. Again, I love the way that he adapted to ZAiN. I just assumed that ZAiN thought that he was going to be playing the same way he did last time in the previous game. So yeah, just it was great to see Piglet adapt, and just like the way that he harassed as well, the constant Widowmine aggression, the Raven aggression as well. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Really was. I'm reading in-game chat right now, and I think you see that as well. Yeah, to anybody wondering right now, because today is Friday, we normally do have the normally either the Sea Duckling Open or the Master Swan Open. Today was meant to be the Master Swan Open until we got the DreamHack schedule for the qualifiers, so we will be postponing that to next week. We do not have an event tonight, but we will be casting the Oceania/Rest of Asia. Oceania/Rest of Asia, whatchamacallit.